confidence was sky high as we got to the airport. I definitely felt prepared for anything that could happen. That was until I got to the first gate. I woke up from bed that day as excited as I was nervous. I'd spent months preparing for this, both mentally and physically gathering everything I believed I needed. It was the next step I was to take, and in my mind, I was completely prepared. It seemed terrifying, but I was sure I'll stay strong through it all. My family had driven me to the capital and then to the airport, and the closer we got to the airport, the more I could hear my heart beat. In typical airport fashion, there was barely any parking space, so we had to get down from the family car and took my luggage as well. I hadn't been to this side of the airport before, so I wasn't really familiar with the entrance. My sister had gone through the same airport a couple of years back, and now it was my turn to go. Confidently walking to the entrance was easy. There was nothing that appeared to faze me. That was until I reached the first gate. The security checked me and I put my luggage through on the conveyor belt as normal. However, my family wasn't allowed to follow me and were told by the security that they could not pass because they weren't traveling. It took 2 seconds for my confidence to shatter like glass into fragmented pieces. My face was hot, not out of anger, but because of fear. I was no longer the confident university student going abroad for his degree. At that moment, I was a child without his parents' hand to hold. As I hurriedly tried to get my luggage in order and ensure everything was fine, the tears came rolling from my eyes and my heart beat even faster than before. This was it. No gradual goodbye. They can't even follow me. Why? I'm not even near the plane yet. Wait, this is too fast at once. The thoughts kept replaying in my head and I could feel myself losing focus as if I wasn't present. I got my luggage ready and asked to pass back through the gates to say my goodbyes, and thankfully I was allowed. My first goodbye was to my mom. She and I were pretty close and she knew that this was very abrupt for me. We hugged and she told me that I'll be alright and I'll be fine. I tried smiling through my tears, but I must have looked weird. I wanted the hug to stay for just a little longer, but I had to break away. Next was my dad. My tears had temporarily stopped and we nodded at each other before we hugged. He told me that it'll be alright, that this was the start of a new journey and that I'll need to be strong. I thanked him for that and said that I'll remember all he's taught me. Lastly was my little brother. Unlike my parents who did their best to hide it, he was already in tears. Over the past years, we've grown very close to each other as siblings. We had so many inside jokes and things that we did together that people mistake us for twins. Now I had to go and leave him behind with my parents. Out of all the goodbyes, this was by far the hardest one. We hugged and cried for about 2 minutes, trying to say everything at once, but not being able to say anything at all. It was then and there that I realized how much I loved my family. As I broke away from him, I grit my teeth and said through my tears, "I've gone through it. Now it's your turn." As one family, we had a group hug and I kept wishing and hoping that it will stay like that. But I had to leave. So I walked through the gate one last time, facing forward with my 3 luggage bags and kept walking, sniffling, and I went but refusing to turn back. I knew that if I did, if I looked back for even a moment, I wouldn't be able to hold anything together anymore and would have broken down completely. That was the start of my journey to university after a long-awaited visa, and I had no idea what would happen next.